Hello, students. In this recorded lesson, I'm going to go over financial literacy, sales tax, and interest. The lesson objective for today's session is we will be calculating sales tax from a given purchase and calculate income tax for earned wages. We will also practice calculating and comparing simple interest and compound interest earnings. Reminder for you, it is time to re-register if you haven't re-registered yet. Here are your online school modules that are assigned to you for this week. It doesn't look so clear on my screen at the time. It looks very tiny, but I'm going to read them out to you. We have 5.01, Scale Factor 1, that is due today. And we will have math building blocks starting tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. I'm out of office today, so we can't have those today. We will. There's also another good news. We will have a co-teacher join us starting tomorrow. Here is question 1. I'm also sharing the link to the practice on your own Nearpod in your plan, as well as over here in the description box of the YouTube. Make sure you get the link and practice along, right? In fact, want you to practice before you watch me how to solve the question, right? You want to pause the video every now and then, try to practice solving on your own, and then match your answers with mine. Let's get started. Alice has a loan of $24,820. This loan, let's annotate. This loan has a simple interest rate of 3.5% per year. No payments will be made on the loan until the end of 1 year. How much interest will Alice pay on this loan at the end of 1 year? We want to find interest at the end of 1 year. When you want to find simple interest, the formula will be given to you in the reference chart, right? You've seen the reference chart last week. I have probably in fact linked the reference chart in your plan. So if you want to refer to that, that would be a great idea. So simple interest. This is what the reference chart says. It will be PRT. Go ahead, pause the video at this time and see if you can solve it. Okay, in this case, let's see. Let's write down some details here. The letter P represents principal. That is the amount borrowed, right? Then R represents and how much is principal for this particular question? It is 24,820. And that's the amount borrowed. Then R represents rate of interest. And in this question, how much is the rate of interest? Let's move the box a little. It's 3.5. So 3.5% is the rate of interest. Then time, T represents time. How long did the person borrow the money for, right? And it clearly says at the end of 1 year. So T, that is the time, will be 1. We've got all the information. We can just apply the formula and calculate our answer, right? We've got all the information. We have P, R, and T. And if I were to expand this formula, I can also say it means principal times rate times time. And if you multiply all these, you get our answer. Let's go ahead and see how it looks like. So I'm going to do principal, that is 24,820 times rate. Rate is 3.5% as a percent. You want to change that to a decimal, and as a decimal, it's going to be 0.035, right? 3.5% as a decimal is 0.035. And then times time, and time is 1 year. Go ahead, multiply all these and see if your answer matches mine. When I multiplied all these, I got an answer that is 868.70. So $868.70. This is what I got. And that is answer choice A. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. Question 2 reads, the price of a computer is $899. Let's annotate as we read. The sales tax is 7%. What is the sales tax on this computer in dollars and cents? Record your answer in the box below. Be sure to use the correct place value. This time, a lot of your STAR test questions will have open-ended answers like this one, right? And you also need to know how you will enter in your answer. You want to find sales tax. And so the question tells you that sales tax is 7%, right? And you need to know how much is 7% as a decimal, right? It is 0.07 as a percent and as a decimal. You want to find the amount of sales tax. What is the sales tax in dollars, right? To do that, you can just do sales tax that we know is 0.07 as decimals and multiply by the price of the computer, $899. Go ahead, multiply and see how much do you get. When I multiplied, I got an answer that is $62.93. Well, when I'm going to go and enter in my answer in these, see how I'm going to answer. And I definitely don't need the dollar sign. You'd never put in a dollar sign. And this very first block has a positive and a negative sign. That means if your answer is negative, you can enter in a negative in there, right? But if your answer is positive, just leave it blank. You really don't need to enter in a positive sign. So 62.93 goes in like this. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. Question 3. Question 3 is one very interesting question. This is the question I'm going to spend the most amount of time, so we have a good and clear understanding of simple interest versus compound interest. The question says, Ian has $6,000 to invest for 2 years. The table shows information about 2 investments Ian can make. So if he has investment X, that will earn him 4.5% simple interest. Or he can invest the $2,000 in investment Y, that will earn him 4% compound interest. Ian makes no additional deposits or withdrawals. Which investment earns the greater amount of interest over a period of 2 years? Right? So in this one, and this is like a new formatted STAR question, right? There was a drag and drop. The first blank, if you are in the TFAR also, I did create a TFAR so you get a feel of it. And the first one was about, they were asking, is investment X gonna earn high or investment Y? So the drop down were investment X and Y. And then in the next one, there were some dollar amounts to see which earns this much more. So we wanted to find the difference in dollars in the second blank. So for this particular question, I think there's sufficient space in this slide, and we can definitely look at it here. Simple interest. We just looked at in question 1, and I told you, how do you find simple interest? You do principal times rate times time. So here, let's see. Principal is the amount that Ian is going to invest. He's going to invest $6,000. Right? R represents rate. How much is the rate? The rate is 4.5%. Right? Times time. We also read the question. It says Ian's going to invest for 2 years. This will give him the answer. Remember, we want to change the 4.5% to a decimal so we can multiply it. We will also remove the dollar sign at this time so we can just handle numbers. So 4.5% is going to be 0.045 times 2. That should give us simple interest. Let's find it out. Go do the calculation, see how much you get in simple interest. When I did the calculations, I ended up getting 540. So all this is my simple interest. Let's color code over it. That's simple interest, right? Look at it carefully. See if that makes sense. Principal is the amount borrowed. R is the rate of interest. T is time. That's all we have here. If you want, we can also add years so you know that was time, right? And then in the next step, I removed all those wordings and stuff, kept it to a map. Now let's look at compound interest. You've always heard of compound in your reading class, and they talk about compound sentences. So compound actually means more than one, right? In compound sentence, you have more than one sentence added together. Same as for compound interest. In compound interest, you probably have compound interest is more compounding. That interest ends up to be more higher than simple interest. Let's see why. In compound interest is calculated. I'm going to show you a simple way to do that. And in that particular way, I'm going to find compound interest for each year separately. So let's find compound interest. Right? So year 1, compound interest, right? Year 1. And I'm going to use the simple PRT formula, right? For year 1, the principal still, Ian is going to be investing $6,000, right? The rate of compound interest in the table, it says 4%, right? And I'm going to find for 1 year at a time. So I'm going to do times 1 because I'm compound. It is just much more easier to find for 1 year at a time. So I'm going to go ahead, change that to a mathematical statement. So 6,000, say 6,000. 4% is going to become 0.04 and times 1 year, right? If I'm going to do all the calculations for year 1, 4% of 6,000, I get $240. I go to year 2. Then now I am going to be earning interest on the $6,000 plus the interest I earned in year 1. I earned $240 in year 1, right? This is the new principal. I'm not going to earn interest just on 6,000 every year. I'm going to be earning interest on the new balance, and that includes the 6,000 as well as the interest from year 1, that is 240. Then I'm going to times by 4% times, because that I'm finding for each year separately, that also makes up just that 1 year, right? So what does that mean? If I condense it, 6,000 plus 240, 6,240 times 4%. 4% is 0.04 times 1. When I calculated this, I got a simple interest. I got a compound interest in year 2 to be $249.60. Okay. So notice here carefully that in year 2, we are able to earn $9.60 more. Why? Because the amount in year 2 is greater on which we are earning interest, right? No longer 6,000 is 6,240. This is what makes the difference between simple and compound interest. In simple interest, every year you're earning interest on the $6,000. In compound year, the previous year's interest adds to the principal, and then you earn interest on that whole thing. And again, ends up to be greater. Then I'm going to go find total for the 2 years. So the total interest earned would be in year one, that was $240. And in year two, it was $249.60. And when we add them up, we get a total that is $489.60. We can color code over here. Right? That is the difference between simple and compound. Right? And it's always easier to find compound yearly, right? Year by year. There is a formula for compound interest in your reference chart. I'm not going to go into that um, because you don't have a calculator in this 7th grade class. And if they're asking me for more and more years, it would end up, being more a little bit messy with the formula. But this is more understandable and simple for you guys to follow. And if any of you are proficient with that formula, good to go. You can definitely use that formula given in the reference chart sheet. But this just keeps things much easier. Okay, now what is the question? The question is saying the investment with the greater amount of interest is. Let's compare. So here we are able to earn $540 over 2 years, and using the compounding method we are able to earn 489.60, right? So I can definitely say that investment X, the simple interest, is earning a higher amount of money, right? In this case. And there are reasons why we are able to earn more through the simple interest. Think about it. Why in this case is simple interest earning more money? Although compound interest is compounding and it should earn more. So investment X earns more, right? So why did simple interest, that was investment X, earn more? Why? Did you come up with a reason? Look carefully. The rate of interest for simple was higher. It was 4.5%, right? That was 4.5%. And therefore you ended up earning more on simple interest than compound interest. Then the question is also asking which earns dash more. You also want to find the difference. You want to find the difference. And in simple interest, you were able to earn $540. In compound interest, you were able to earn $489.60. So let's go figure out the difference. Difference means subtracting. Go find the difference. When I calculated the difference, I got $50.40. That's the difference between the two investments. Okay, so this is what goes over here, $50.40. You will be learning more about simple and compound interest in next grade level in 8th grade. And you'll also have calculator. You'll see life will be much more easier. A lot of students still are confused about simple and compound interest. Make sure you understand. If you still have questions, make sure to ask me tomorrow in class. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. The question reads, the price of a DVD is $24 plus 8% sales tax. What is the sales tax of this DVD in dollars and cents? Again, like an open-ended question. So it means if you don't know how to answer, you'll definitely miss the question. The question is not hard. Sales tax, you want to find. Sales tax as a percent is 8%, right? And I can say as a decimal, it's going to be how much? Think. It's going to be 0.08. Okay. So in order for me to find sales tax, I just multiply. I know sales tax is 8%, that is 0.08 times the price, times $24. Go do the calculations and see how much you end up getting. When I did the calculations, I ended up getting $1.92, right? And how should I enter in $1.92? Right before the decimal is 1. Then I should have 92. $1.92. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. And the final question, yes. I'm not trying to plan some really long lessons. I know this week you do have tests coming up and you're trying to prepare. You're also trying to catch up with grades and whatnot. So, and these many questions are just sufficient amount of practice. If you want to practice, keep practicing them over and over. If you want some brand new set of questions, remember I have a bank of questions, hundreds of questions over this topic. Let me know. I'm more than happy to share that big bank of questions with you. Here, this is the last and final question. A refrigerator is priced $525.50. There is a 6% sales tax rate. What is the sales tax for the refrigerator in dollars and cents? So notice the questions for sales tax, they show up almost every year. Every year there's one question. The questions look very similar. You see, they're just trying to change the product's name and the numbers. And the question looks exactly the same. It is not complex. There's no rocket science, quite simple ones. And if you understand how to do it, there's one more question on the STAR test you can answer. So sales tax, in this question, they're saying 6%. At least by now, I am anticipating that everybody can change 6% to a decimal. Think. This is 0.06, right? And then in order for me to find sales tax, I will do the 6%, 0.06, times the price of the item. The price of the item is 525.50. In order for you to make the multiplication easy, if you want, you can drop the 0 off, right? And you go ahead and multiply and see how much do you end up getting. I got $31.53. How do I put in the N in this one? No dollar sign can go in. They just need digits, numbers. So this is how you can enter in the answer, $31.53. That's how you remember, as you are going to be answering questions for today's lesson. Also join the TFAR. Use your TSDS ID number. I'm so sure everybody has their TSDS ID number by now because you've asked that from me so many times throughout the school year. You all probably do have it. Search for that and also complete the TFAR, because the TFAR will give you a good sense of how the actual STAR test looks like, and you get a good practice of how to enter in answers that are open-ended like this one. And in today's lesson, you did see that there are so many open-ended questions, or like choosing from a drop down menu and whatnot. So I do recommend you to definitely go to the TFAR and try to practice entering in your answers there. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in class tomorrow.